You are tuning into Mad Genius Live, and you better stick around because we've got a perfectly green shakshuka verde. We have Irish fish pie, and best of all, we have Lucky Charm ice cream sandwiches. Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Chapple. I am Food and Wine's Culinary Director. I'm also your host every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. It makes me very happy to hear from everybody throughout the week. And so if you're new to the show, welcome. We have a lot of fun stuff today, but if you've been following us and tuning in every week, thank you so much. Because we're live and we're across the internet, that means we can interact. So we hope that you follow along using the hashtag MadGeniusLive. Ask us your questions, send some comments. If you have ideas for future shows, please hit us up and we'll do our best to get back to you. We have a very special guest today. We have my friend Lindsay Maitland Hunt. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Lindsay and I, Lindsay's been kind of a recipe developer and a writer for many years. You were at Real Simple, and then you happened upon Food and Wine a little while ago, and that's where we first met.
Yay!
So Lindsay and I worked together a little bit at Food and Wine, and now she's here as a guest because she wrote a cookbook. A new cookbook that just came out called Healthy-ish, and we're really excited about it. I love the book. And so when I saw the book and it arrived in the mail, I was like, I gotta have Lindsay on. We gotta do a recipe from the book. And we are, and here she is here today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so excited to be here.
The book is Healthy-ish. It's available now, pretty much everywhere. And if you're catching us live, then you can get a link to purchase the book right in the comments below. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what is Healthy-ish and why'd you write the book?
Yeah.
What it's all about?
Healthy-ish it's one of those words that I love because you sort of know what it means without even needing a definition. Mm-hmm. But when it gets down to like brass tacks, obviously it's food that's good for you, but it's not so good for you that you feel kind of sad when you're eating it. Like, I don't know, like a big bowl of lettuce, I could work my way through that, but I just don't want to. But if there's something like a little bit of crumble of bacon, or maybe there's some cheese, it's going to feel more satisfying, more hearty, and it's easier to stick to a sustainable way of living. So we're talking about balance, moderation, all those types of things. Like, you can definitely eat dessert, but maybe you're going to do it with whole wheat flour, or maybe you're going to do it with frozen yogurt. These sort of small choices that help you find a sustainable middle ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been on diets before, and when I've been on a diet, it's when you actually like feels totally deprived of sugar or fat or sweet or super savory or salty or anything like that. It's like when you feel really deprived of it that you usually have relapse, and then you start like consuming the wrong things again. Yeah,
because extremes just aren't sustainable. Like, I've done it too. I mean, I started out 15 being like, oh, I'll do a week on lean cuisine, and like tasty, but dang, was I hungry. And at the end of the day, like, it
all
didn't
you wanted
work
was a
for
taco
me.
at that point.
Right, and then, coming to New York, moving to New York and going to culinary school and being like, how much butter and salt can I fit into my body? How much chocolate can I eat? Just sort of swinging to the other end of things.
Yeah.
I realized like that didn't feel great either. And so it was as becoming to being a recipe developer, working in test kitchens like Real Simple, Food and Wine. I worked at BuzzFeed, and I realized that like you can use food to feel good. You can eat things that taste good as long as you're roasting your vegetables with enough salt, the right amount of olive oil. Maybe there's something at the end like a little aioli. It's vegetables you actually want to eat, and you feel good.
Well, I love the idea. And I love the book, and I'm so excited that we're gonna be able to cook from it today. So today's episode is, because St. Patty's Day is this weekend, we're doing like kind of a loose St. Patrick's Day theme. We're not like doing anything really authentic or anything like that, but we're just gonna have a little fun. We're inspired a little bit by green. We're inspired by some of the fun stuff that you might see on Pinterest or all over the internet. And then one of the other things is we have my colleague, Mary Frances Heck, who's gonna join us in a little bit to make her Irish fish pie with sweet potato topping from her book, Sweet Potatoes, which is also available now. So we're gonna get to that in a minute, but I think first of all, I'm gonna start because my little hack, my Mad Genius tip that I'm gonna share to you today on Mad Genius Live has to go into the freezer for a minute. So Lindsay actually has her, she's making a really simple shortcut shakshuka, but she's doing a riff on the one that's in her book, which is actually, I don't know where it's at. I have all these pages tagged here, which is actually more of a classic one that's made with a marinara style sauce and stuff like that. But she's doing a really fun riff on this today to keep it in the theme of green.
Yeah.
So she's switching it up. But before we get there, I'm gonna show you this really simple tip here, Lindsay. So we are
All
making
right, teach me while I start.
one of my favorite cereals in the whole wide world. What is it? Lucky Charms. We are making Lucky Charm ice cream sandwiches. If you've ever caught my series, Mad Genius Tips, which is available on Food and Wine, it's on YouTube, you'll see me doing like all these kind of wacky hacks, food cooking hacks. And some of them are making really fun desserts like ice cream sandwiches. So I had to show you, sorry, let me just open this. I'm just gonna show you how to make these Lucky Charm ice cream sandwiches. And the first thing that I'm gonna use here is I've melted some white chocolate. So this is a ½ pound of just white chocolate, which, as you know, is not really chocolate. It's cocoa butter. So this is definitely not healthy-ish or healthy at all. It's not healthy, it's not healthy-ish. It's decadent and it's, I mean, but it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the idea, just with healthy-ish, the idea is that like you can have everything. It's just about listening to your body and in moderation.
And
so,
my
like,
body is telling
we're
me
staying with it. It's
to
saying,
get the white chocolate
go for it.
and get the Lucky Charms, which I know is not a St. Patty's Day thing, but I'm going with it because it makes me feel lucky, and any excuse to eat Lucky Charms, I will. Okay, so I have a ½ pound of white chocolate that I just melted over a double boiler. You can also do this in the microwave in a heat-proof, microwave-safe bowl. 20-second intervals, stir between intervals. And all I'm doing is I'm gonna pour it onto a foil-lined baking sheet, like this. And this is kind of like making a bark, like if you've ever made a chocolate bark. And I'm just gonna spread it out kind of thin. This is a really, really simple recipe. I mean, it's 3 ingredients, literally, and it's not really a recipe. That's why I like to say it's a Mad Genius tip, because it's more of a food hack. But so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna take 2 cups of Lucky Charms, and I'm gonna sprinkle them on top of the white chocolate.
Smells so good.
I know, the white chocolate actually has
really
a lot. It's very
delicious
fragrant.
smelling.
Okay, so I'm gonna pour these on top, just like this. It's all right if it's not like completely covered or if it's whatever, it's fine. And then just push it in. And this is like step 1 of how to make Lucky Charms ice cream sandwiches. Okay, so that's that. And I'm gonna actually pop this in the freezer for like 15 minutes, if that, not even. It's probably gonna take like 10 minutes. And so while this chills, we're gonna move to Lindsay's shakshuka, which is shortcut shakshuka for 2. So you already have some onions going. I'm gonna pop this in. Why don't you get us going?
All right, cool. So yeah, so we've had onions going and also a sliced garlic clove. They're going about 6 to 8 minutes, just until they're, you know, not too golden brown. You want them to just be soft like that. And then since we're doing these fun green St. Patty's Day thing, we're using salsa verde. You could also use green enchilada sauce. And the idea is, the recipe in the book is shortcut shakshuka for 2, because a traditional shakshuka, you'd be building it up with all this flavor. You'd have tomatoes, maybe you'd have peppers. But the idea of healthy-ish is not just better for you, it's also fewer pots and pans, less prep, and not so many.
That's like the mental healthy.
Yeah, and you don't want a lot of complicated ingredients, so if you can use marinara, great. And here we're using this green tomato situation.
Right,
so we're using,
turn that
all right,
off.
hit me, get me cooking.
And
so yeah, and then we're also adding some water.
Okay.
And this isn't too thick, so we'll stick with what was in the book, which is about a ½ cup.
Right, so this is, I think it's a cup of, this is salsa verde, but as I mentioned, this is a riff from Lindsay's book. And the version in her book actually calls for a marinara sauce, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right, cover.
And if you've ever made shakshuka, like to Lindsay's point before, is it's really, you're kind of starting by building a base of flavor. So you're starting by sauteing onions, garlic, and a lot of times you would actually just use like crushed tomatoes or fresh tomatoes that you then have to cook down. But like, I actually really love this shortcut. I use it all the time, whether it's marinara sauce or salsa verde or enchilada sauce, because those things already have that flavor built up in them.
Absolutely.
Which is a really smart thing.
So while we wait for this, you want to be the avocado man?
Yes.
I'm going to crumble our feta up.
Okay. Can I use that knife?
Yes, please.
So how do you want this? Should I dice this or slice this?
Ooh, let's do a dice.
Should I dice it or slice it?
Dice.
Okay, we'll do a dice. I think it looks like you're simmering already.
Oh, it's going.
Believe it or
All
not.
right, that's a fast guy. Wow. All right. Well, I'm already with the hands in the dirty, so.
That's right.
Will you turn me down?
Yeah. Let's see here. So how long do you cook this before you?
So we're gonna go about like 2 to 3 minutes, just until it's bubbling, because then we'll add a bag of chopped frozen spinach, and then that'll cook in there. And then eventually we'll crack eggs into little divots. Or yeah, you wanna throw the
Oh, should we go in?
Yeah, since I'm just all cheesy up in here.
Do you want to switch? Should I do the cheesy? So how much is
Well,
this?
I'm just committing.
This is, I think,
so that's
12
one 10-ounce bag. Because one of the things I think so much about when developing recipes is using the entire container that you buy.
Right.
So like calling for 8 ounces of chopped spinach when the standard amount, at least in American products and grocery stores, is a 10-ounce frozen bag.
Yeah.
So the idea is developing recipes that make it easier for home cooks to just one and done. You're not wrapping up a bag, putting it back. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, cool. Wow, this is so
I know, this is way
fast
faster.
and efficient.
I was like, why is this
It's
burner
like
is
cooking
bringing
in the
it to us.
future.
Which
Okay,
is funny
so
because right before we went live, we were using Food and Wine's salt mill, and it's an electric salt mill that you can actually buy. We could drop the link in the comments below, but it's funny because Lindsay was using it, and she's like, oh my God, this is like futuristic cooking. Everything is like electric and battery operated, and
I like it. Anything that cuts down on cooking time, right?
yeah. Can you guys see this? I'm not sure. I can't tell if the camera can see this, but I'm gonna move this stuff
so
out of the
pretty
way
and
for you guys
green. I
because I
love
want you to see
it.
how green this is. And obviously, that's like a very American thing, is to like assume that celebrating St. Patty's Day means making everything green, but we're gonna go with it because this is a really
it's
fun recipe and
tasty.
it's tasty.
Cool. All right. So shakshuka, one of the things I love about it is that you make little divots in the sauce and then the egg cooks in. So
Yeah.
it sort of like makes it gel together. So we'll do that.
Right.
And if you're comfortable, you can crack the eggs right into the sauce. But
I'm
since
not
this is
normally
sort
comfortable
of,
doing
yeah,
that.
and like we'd be sort of like going up. So I'm gonna crack into a separate bowl.
There you go.
And then I have my trash bowl. At the front of the book, if you do have Healthyish already, or if you order it, there is a page called New to the Kitchen Tips, and it's my 9 favorite tips for learning to feel comfortable in the kitchen, whether you're new, whether you're experienced and you just need a little refresher. So one of them is to have a trash bowl ready to go so that you're not like running over the trash and then coming
Yeah,
back
it
and
makes
then
a
like,
big difference.
no, just like,
It's right there.
and then if you compost, you can put it in your compost.
There you go. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I had Allison Roman on the show, and one of the things that we had talked about right before was, because we had a compost bowl, and she was like, I first learned about compost bowls from Rachel Ray, and I was like, so did I.
Rachel Ray.
Rachel
doing a
Ray.
service for us all.
She is setting the tone, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we got our, so you're making little divots, and I
Yeah,
actually like
all right,
using the
this
bowl
is
too
really-
because sometimes you get a little bit of shell, and then
Yeah.
you can just fish it out of the bowl as opposed to having to
Totally.
fish it out of your green situation happening. And so you said this is for 2.
Yes.
But if you wanted, because you're using 4 eggs, you can even serve 4, like if it's a family, maybe you have kids or.
Yeah, if someone wants a smaller portion, or if you wanted to stretch this, you could put more eggs in. Like, the idea is the recipes are pretty flexible, and I want to empower home cooks to make decisions that work for them. So
Yeah.
like, the recipes generally work however you want to make them work. That's the idea. So we got 4 going on there.
And this is I think a 10-inch skillet. If you want to double this recipe, which is totally easy to do,
Yeah.
you could just use a larger skillet and then double all the ingredients, right?
Okay, and then we're gonna put the cheese in there with the eggs.
I love that idea because then it like melts
It's-
just a
yeah.
little. Oh my God, I
I
forgot.
like-
You put me on. You put
Oh,
me
you're
on
good. You're in
avocado
the right.
duty.
You're in the right time. This is going so quickly. I love it. I need this burner.
All right, so I happen to think there's like quite a few ways to cut avocado. Some people like to cut it while it's in the skin.
I like that too. It also keeps you from dirtying your cutting board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also
about
like to,
right.
sometimes I like to, I'm just gonna put it on the board anyways. I know we're talking about keeping it clean, but there we go. I also like to sometimes just take the whole thing out because then if I'm doing pretty slices, like sometimes I take the whole fruit out. Yes, avocado is a fruit, and then I like to slice it like this.
I'm gonna pick some cilantro for the end.
Okay.
So the recipe calls for parsley, but again, since we're doing this sort of fun southwestern-y riff on shakshuka, I thought it'd be fun with avocado for green and cilantro because I love the way that cilantro tastes with avocado. If you don't like cilantro, do parsley. Although
Because
I don't have
it's-
that soap thing, thank God.
I definitely do not have that. Every time Ina Garten talks about it, I'm like, that is definitely not me. So feel free to bring on the cilantro.
I want as much as possible.
I'm good with it. I'm gonna bring this over here so that when we do the reveal of this beautiful shakshuka, we can put it right in front of the camera. Okay, so what else do we need? So
we are pretty much set.
see, that's awesome.
How easy is that?
But you can also serve it with the extra,
I mean, yeah,
oops.
go nuts. And I always like to end with a little flaky sea salt, just so you get that pop, that crunch, and then obviously fresh ground pepper.
Yeah, which I like, because this is actually a very mild feta. I just tasted it. It's not really salty, much like a French feta or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And other things that would be delicious on here are like crushed chili flakes if you wanted a little more heat. I mean, I feel like every time I cook for my sister, she just like shows up at the table with sriracha. And like, I like kind of worked on those flavors, but like, cool, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
I was actually going to say like, oh, there it is. So I was looking around and I was like, oh my God, we forgot the bread, because Lindsay wanted to serve it with toasted bread. And then I just looked and I was like, I don't know if everyone noticed, but like Kelsey has it. So Kelsey, you're going to actually throw me the bread. I know we are on live on camera. You're going to throw me the bread, take it out like a football. Kelsey is our test kitchen manager. She's standing behind the cameras over here, and she's going to throw the baguette like it's a football. Are we ready? Okay, ready?
It looks like it's going towards me.
Okay, get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, go.
Wow.
Oh, no, I have like flour in my face. Okay,
right,
so next time you forget your baguette at
here we
home,
go.
just have somebody toss it across the kitchen, and it's fine. All right, let me cut this up for you. So we're not going with toasted baguette today. We're just going with fresh baguette.
Right,
Is that
so
okay?
I'm just gonna, fresh baguette, great. I often toast things just because maybe I don't have as fresh of bread. Like day-old bread tastes so much better toasted. I just realized I was doing like a cup of cilantro because that's how much I want.
I'm down with a cup of cilantro.
But we're gonna stop. Yeah, so you know this is done when the yolks are, everything, so you have this nice saucy business going on to dunk the bread, but like the whites are set.
And
but the yolks inside should still be pretty dunkable. That's the official term.
Yum.
All right, should we put this on?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Oh, let's do salt and pepper first.
Hashtag
I'm using
dunkable.
these, ooh,
It's like a drone.
2 at once.
When Melissa Clark was on, she was like, these are like salt and pepper drones. They could like fly in over your food.
I love it.
I mean, I could eat this like without even any toppings, but let's do it.
Yeah,
so let's go with the green theme. So
I know
we're
I
getting
said
our
chopped,
avocado
but
on
then
top.
you did a nice little,
I did a dice and a chop.
I know.
Just in case, because I was just gonna show our lovely audience that you could do it 2 ways.
So one of the things with styling, food styling, that's really interesting is that like you might want to put it so it's all together, but I'm often thinking about like, let's get it evenly distributed because we all want a bite of avocado, and we're just gonna mix it up. Because
It's so true, because that's one of the things like that we face when we do food styling for the magazine or for the website is we're often like, okay, we have to make this look as pretty as possible, but sometimes as pretty as possible is not the easiest thing to eat.
Can I grab that from you?
Yes. Sometimes it's definitely not the easiest way to eat, and you're not necessarily getting the same kind of like bite that you would get.
Yeah, because
So I say go even.
I like it like that, and then, ooh, like I said, I love cilantro.
All right, I think we need a money shot.
Yeah. All right,
Let's get a money shot.
I'm just using all the grinders.
All the grinders. Get all the grinders and all the bowls of salt, because we have like 8 bowls of salt. You want more salt? We have
like to use it
electric
all.
salt
You did
mill. We have a
such a
bowl of salt there. We have a big old bowl of kosher salt here. All the salts, all the peppers.
Yeah,
I mean, this
and
is
since we're
so
mixing
beautiful.
It up,
Look
I'm
at
gonna
this.
Like, let's make it look saucy.
Let's
a little bit
make
of
it
extra olive
juicy.
oil, special. It's St. Patty's Day breakfast. Since St. Patty's Day is a Saturday, maybe this is like your weekend treat, a little brunch in bed.
Go with the green
Bring a
thing.
tray.
You're gonna start with the shakshuka in the morning, and then you're gonna go on to your supper and you're gonna go on to your dessert. Okay, so I'm gonna let you do the honor.
All right.
You're gonna show us the money shot here.
All right, which egg do we?
And then I'm gonna grab a spoon because we're gonna taste it.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's definitely not green. That is golden. It's because it's the pot of gold.
Pot of gold.
It's your
I love
green.
it. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
well,
there's your spoon.
But I kind of
Okay.
want to do.
Oh yeah.
I'm going bread.
I'm gonna go bread also. Okay, we're gonna taste it. Mmm. It's really hot and colorful.
Looks. Oh my god.
It's so
It's
hot.
hot.
It's really hot. It's literally boiling liquid in my mouth. The egg yolk, which I got, was so hot, but it's still runny, which is like actually perfect.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the whites are cooked, which is the key. Yeah.
I'm down with that. Okay, we're gonna keep eating this. We're gonna finish my Lucky Charm ice cream sandwiches when we come back, but first we're gonna take a really, really short break. It's not really a break because we're gonna be joined by my friend and colleague, Mary Frances Heck, who is talking about her new book, Sweet Potatoes, and she is gonna show us how to make her Irish fish pie, which is perfect for St. Patty's Day. So check it out and come back for ice cream sandwiches. So ladies and gentlemen, Mary Frances Heck is Food & Wine's senior food editor. I've asked Mary Frances to come in and make her Irish fish pie from your book.
I wrote this book, came out last September, and it has 60 sweet potato recipes, man-made gnocchi, fries, all kinds of baked goods, and this Irish fish pie, which is one of my favorites, especially this time of year.
All right, so should we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we are making Irish fish pie with a sweet potato. Happy St. Patty's Day. I got my green shirt on. And
I'm just Irish, so. Okay, so we already have started here. 1 onion is being melted down in a little bit of unsalted butter, and that's just going. To this, I'm gonna add about 2 cups of milk, and this dish will remind you a little bit of like New England style chowder meets shepherd's pie. You know, so the magic of making this sort of flavor profile is thyme and really high quality bay leaves. And so you either want to get fresh ones, which you can find frozen, or like really good dried ones, but just smell them in the shop and make sure that they smell delicious. This is gonna come to a simmer, and then we're gonna poach our fish. So today we got some beautiful cod. This is about a ½ pound of cod. We've just diced it into like 1-inch pieces. We have some medium or large shrimp, and just peel and devein those so that you can eat the whole thing right out of the pie. And then we have these beautiful bay scallops.
And let's say somebody couldn't find bay scallops. Could you just use jumbo
Of course,
sea scallops?
yeah, use sea scallops, and I would just cut them into like quarters. If you can't find cod, any flaky white fish, and also salmon's really good, and it's just like a really nice fresh salmon. And you could always use some shucked clams or oysters. Anything that's sort of a light, mild fish or shellfish is great in this. Okay, so I'm gonna start poaching these.
All right.
We have pre-cooked about 1½ pounds of orange-fleshed sweet potatoes. And so if you will pass those through the food mill so they become like a really silky puree. The reason we do this is twofold. One, it perfectly cooks each fish, and they all have slightly different cook times. And so we want to make sure that the cod goes for about 2 minutes, the shrimp just need a minute, and those bay scallops, I mean, you could practically eat them raw. They just need about 30 seconds. And that way also the casserole cooks pretty quickly in the oven. So right here I have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now this is one technique I really love. I love using this technique. It's a French technique called beurre meunier. You just mash the soft butter and the flour. It's a little messy, but it's worth it, I swear. And then when your sauce is perfectly seasoned, you just whisk it in. And the ratio for this is about, so easy to remember because it's 1 tablespoon of flour, 1 tablespoon of butter to 1 cup of liquid. So I am just fishing out this cod, and some of the little bits of onion are coming with it, and that's totally fine. It's all gonna end up in the sauce.
And so obviously I'm using a food mill because that's what Mary Frances recommends. But if you don't have a food mill, what would you recommend that?
Sweet potatoes, you can mash really well with just the back of a fork.
Right.
Like you don't even have to get too crazy. Just make sure it becomes a smooth puree.
And so to this, I'm adding that butter, correct?
Yes, 2 tablespoons of butter, and that's just gonna give it a little bit of richness and also help it brown in the oven.
This is like an everyday sweet potato. This is the one everybody knows about. But one of the great things about leafing through your book is that Mary Frances actually incorporates recipes using different types of sweet potato because, believe it or not, there are many types. We have a couple here. I don't know if you want to talk to them a little bit, but
so,
we have this humongous one. Hello, hello. And then we have this
so
really
you can
beautiful
call
one
your
here.
friends on the garnet. Garnet and Beauregard, they're different varieties, but they're culinarily used for the same purpose. And those would be your orange-fleshed, red to orange-skinned sweet potatoes.
Okay.
And then what we have here is a Japanese sweet potato, and I just, out of habit, scratched off a little bit of the skin, and you can see that it has a white flesh inside. And if you're familiar with the sweet potato emoji,
Yes,
this is the one. I just added the scallops, and these only take about 30 seconds. You could even make it
so
like
tiny,
a ceviche or something with them.
And you're not necessarily looking to cook all of this fully through.
That's right. Yeah, you just want to get everything started, and then we're gonna bake this. We're gonna top it and bake it, and it's gonna get all bubbly and delicious. And that's when it'll finish cooking. But you'll find that everything's perfectly cooked at that point.
I know you're gonna put some chives in here. Would you like me to chop some?
Yeah, could you chop those finely?
Yes.
And I am going to now whisk in our beurre meunier. I'm going to crank up the heat a little bit because you do want this to come to a full boil.
I have your chives here.
Okay, do you want to switch places then? Will you whisk this until it's boiled for about a minute? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add these chives to our casserole. And I add them at this point because I want them to stay sort of fresh tasting. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, after you pour that in, that would be a great point to stop this recipe. And you could pop it in the fridge, let it cool to room temperature, pop it in the fridge, and you could refrigerate it overnight before putting your, piping your filling on top and baking it. And you just wanna add about 10 to 15 minutes of bake time if it's coming from cold. Okay, so we got our piping bag ready.
Okay.
Okay, so you can turn that off and then just let it sort of come to a rest so it's not boiling anymore.
Yum.
Perfect.
Okay, you tell me when you're ready.
All right, go for it.
All right, I'm gonna pour it in.
Okay, and then we're just gonna give everything like a stir right in the dish. And so I love that, you know, sometimes you're making these like casseroles with different toppings and stuff, and you've like dirtied the entire kitchen, but you just use the one pot to make your sauce, stir everything together in here, and you're ready to go. And now we have a little bit of our mashed sweet potato that you just added some butter and just a pinch of salt to. We're just gonna go really simply back and forth. You could, if you don't have a piping bag, you can definitely just like dollop this on and use the back of a large spoon to pipe it over. And it's okay, if the little spots aren't filled in, don't worry about it. This thing is gonna become a delicious, bubbly casserole. You wanna let it rest for a couple minutes after it's baked. Okay, so whenever I have leftover sweet potato,
We are getting a mad genius tip right here, ladies and gentlemen.
you know what? I'm telling you, could you hold this for me?
Yeah.
And so you're just gonna save it. You're gonna put it into a Ziploc bag, and you can measure this or even weigh it, because if you weighed out 8 ounces, that would be a cup. I mean, and this is just the easiest thing. I do this with all kinds of stuff. Pat it out so that you have this sort of flat layer. And then I will just like write the date and what it is on there. And then I stack them in my freezer.
Awesome.
And so when I want to make like sweet potato cinnamon rolls or any other recipe in the book that calls for mashed sweet potato, I just snag a bag. You put it in a bowl of just like warm water in the sink for about 5 or 10 minutes.
And then it defrosts.
It's thawed, it's ready to go. And by having it that thin, stackable,
It doesn't take up all the
freezes
space.
quickly, it doesn't take up any space, it
But
stays organized.
then I'm gonna add to his mad genius tips, because then when you're gonna pipe on top of your fish stew, you could just cut off the corner of the bag.
Oh my God. Look at
Right?
that.
There
We're
we go.
ready to
Okay, I'm gonna put this in the freezer. Okay. You wanna put that in the, or wait, because I think we actually have TV magic, right?
Yes, the magic of television.
So, yummy.
So this has been going only for about 20, 25 minutes. And you bake it at 375. It's gonna get really bubbly. I mean, and I like to put a little pan underneath just in case you get a drip.
Yeah.
And then, as you can see, like even that sort of chowder-like texture is trying to peek through. But you're gonna scoop this out into a shallow bowl and just eat it.
I'm just gonna take a little corner here. I mostly want the sweet potato topping.
Really hot.
Really, really hot. You're right. It like literally tastes like New England fish chowder.
Yeah.
Except you get that little bit of sweetness from. Well, you're getting a little bit of sweetness from the scallops and the shrimp, but then you're getting like a different kind of sweetness from the potatoes.
I really love sweet potato with shellfish because it mirrors that sweetness.
All right, Mary Frances, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Next time you
so
come back to
excited.
New York, you're gonna get back in the kitchen with me.
Awesome.
And we're gonna cook.
Come see me in Birmingham.
I will. Well, maybe we should do a episode of Mad Genius Live down there.
I'd love that.
And check out Mary Frances's book, Sweet Potatoes. You can get it pretty much anywhere, but if you're watching on Facebook, we have dropped a link to purchase in the comments. Click it, purchase, and let us know what you think. All right? Okay, so Mary Frances's Irish fish pie is actually super, super delicious, and it's way easier than you think. You can get the recipe below in the comments, or you can go to foodmind.com, or you can pick up a copy of Mary Frances's book, Sweet Potatoes. I know you know Mary Frances as well, so she's an incredible cook. Okay, so Lindsay Maitland Hunt is here. We are talking about her book, Healthy-ish, which is available now, and we are live, so you can follow along, you can talk to us, you can ask us questions. Please write in. Lindsay is here to ask all your healthy-ish questions. Use the hashtag MadGeniusLive. We're also gonna be tracking the hashtag after we're off air, so we'll be still answering your questions and following along. So join us. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, we made Lindsay's really delicious shortcut shakshuka from her book, which is actually a riff on a recipe in your book.
Yes.
It's super delicious. She swapped out the marinara sauce that she calls for in the book, and she used salsa verde. And now we're gonna finish my Lucky Charms ice cream sandwiches that we started just before you made your shakshuka. And if you missed it then, but you're tuning in now, all I did was I melted some white chocolate, which you can normally buy like in a big block like this. You could buy it in a regular bar, or you could buy it in chips. It doesn't matter. I melt mine on a double boiler, but you can also do it in a microwave safe bowl. And then I just spread it onto some foil. I press the Lucky Charms on top, which I'm gonna say have 11 grams of whole grains in them.
Whoa.
So I'm saying that to make myself feel way better about eating white chocolate with cereal. And I'm just gonna peel off the foil here. And you have this delicious
So pretty.
bark, this white chocolate bark with Lucky Charms, which is perfectly delicious as is. So you can definitely eat it like this. But what I'm gonna do is just, oh yes, as someone in my ear just said, they are magically delicious. This is magically delicious. Okay, but I'm gonna make it even more delicious because I'm turning it into ice cream sandwich. So I have here, this is like a 4-inch, or you can use like a 3-inch, a 4-inch, a 2-inch ring cutter. And I'm just gonna, I'm hoping, because I did this before and it works great, so I'm hoping that I could do it well on camera. So I'm just gonna cut out little rounds out of the white chocolate. And you have that little fantastic little,
So cute.
little thingamajigger. What do you call that?
Disc.
It's a cookie.
It's a disc.
It's a cookie for our ice cream sandwiches. So I'm gonna make 2 big ones. So I'm gonna cut out 4 of these because we need one for you and one for me. Yeah. And look at this. You could see all the little marshmallows and you could see all the little shapes and fun Lucky Charms that I just wanna eat right now. Wow. Okay, and obviously you end up with all these little broken pieces, but you just eat them.
I know.
Because they're magically delicious. Okay. And this is my favorite Mad Genius tip of all time. Not, in particular, not making these cookies, but cutting ice cream out of a pint container, which I put in the freezer. Let me grab it. I totally forgot to bring it out, but I have it here. So I usually do this with chocolate chip cookies. You might have, hopefully you've seen it already. I hope you watch my show. And all I'm taking is a pint of ice cream and a serrated knife, and I'm just gonna cut discs out of it, just like this, and then I just cut a little snip on the side. So there's one.
You want me to peel?
Well, I'm gonna let you build your sandwich. So I actually like to build it before I peel it off because then you don't have to touch the ice cream. So you can actually just hold it just like this. This is my all-time favorite Mad Genius tip. And then you just put it on top of one magically delicious white chocolate Lucky Charm. And then you put your other one on top.
All right.
And then that's when you peel it off.
Ooh.
Check that out.
So good.
And I have more, because I made 2 extra just in case we needed them.
I do need
Well,
it.
actually, what I like to do then is I like to wrap these in plastic, because as you could see, the ice cream is still a little loose. But then once you freeze it like this, then it's nice and solid. And so I'm gonna eat it. You don't have to eat it, because it's a really big bite, but I'm gonna taste it. Mmm.
That's good.
It's really sweet.
You have blue.
I have blue all over my face.
Oh, I got a big marshmallowy bite.
Okay. On that note, I'm ending this special edition with special St. Paddy's Day celebration on Mad Genius Live. Don't forget to tune in next week using the all over Food and Wine social media channels, but also follow up with us using the hashtag Mad Genius Live. Don't forget to check out Mary Francis's book, Sweet Potatoes, and my guest of honor today, Lindsay. Don't forget to pick up a copy of Healthy-ish, because it's gonna satisfy not only your healthy mood, but your decadent.
Your ish mood.
Your ish mood. All right. Okay, bye everyone. I'm gonna keep eating my Lucky Charms ice cream
Same.
sandwich. Okay.